Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto was trained to use the force by the spirit of a Sith Lord, episode 1. Subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Let's start the story. On an unknown planet in a galaxy far, far away, fires raged amidst the rubble of the ancient city, lightning flashed, and thunder boomed, and skies were rolling blackness that obscured the sun. The ruins were 1,000 years old, and not much remained standing, not after so much damage caused by plasma, and blaster fire, and powerful bombs used by the marching armies of sentients at war among themselves. It was just one of many battles waged between the armies of Sith and the Republic. No matter how hard they fought, the Republic forces led by valiant GD Knights never managed to fully extinguish the Sith Lords. But today, the GD were to be victorious. Two shapes moved in the rubble, both just shadows in the dark. Ordinary person would need a vision enhancer to see anything, let alone navigate the treacherous ensemble of stone, metal, and other composite materials. But these two weren't ordinary, they were force users of high skill and great power. The force was a mysterious energy field that is said to encompass the whole galaxy and all things within, binding them together, penetrating them and making it all one living wholeness of massive, unimaginable power. Many people studied it for many lifetimes, until the start of the entire order of mystical scholars devoted to understanding of the force. They came to realize that many seemingly magical feats like mind reading, telekinesis, healing, and others were just various uses of the force. These scholars came to develop means of training young minds to better understand the force and use it. They became the GD Order, protectors of galactic civilization and knowledge. As the ages passed, the GD grew more powerful and knowledgeable. They came to realize that there was a dark aspect of the force, Bogan. Later they called it just the dark side, and chose not to study it because they sensed great power and danger within that current of the force. But, as it usually is, some GD thought they could do more good by studying the wholeness of the force, which meant the dark side too. They chose to let go of the restraints of the order. They actively sought ways to increase their powers in the force. They believed it was wrong to limit oneself from reaching their maximum potential. That thinking led them to believe that if one could do something, why shouldn't he? Eventually these revolutionaries were discovered, as they openly started to try and convince their fellows to abandon security for the sake of unlimited knowledge and understanding. It led to an open schism in the order, and the first GD internal war. The Dark GD lost, because their numbers and powers were lesser than those of their former brethren. But the seed of hatred was sown, and it grew strong, fueled by the passion and anger of the former GD who felt betrayed, even though they were the traitors who struck first. They were exiled out of the known territories of the galaxy to roam alone, and never return. The exiles were few. In time they stumbled upon a world full of strong dark side practitioners. They called themselves the Sith. The exiles saw great potential in those people, and a hope for themselves. They conquered these people who viewed them as their gods who descended from the heavens wielding awesome powers. In time the exiles and the Sith become one race separated in castes, but the leaders were descended from the exiles, who were mostly human, and were the strongest force users. They became Sith Lords led by one supreme Sith Lord. They spread to several other worlds, and formed their Sith Empire, but it was tiny when compared to many worlds of the Republic. In time the Sith found their way back to the Republic, and it started a long sporadic series of Sith emergence, and wars with the Republic and the GD. The Sith always caused massive devastation and deaths, as living servants of the malevolent dark side of the Force. Each time they would be defeated, and yet never completely. Their knowledge remained behind in many forms, ready to corrupt those who would stumble upon it, and dare to learn. And so it happened again. A lone and curious GD Knight Tyrion Sorrel accidentally discovered a lost Sith holocron on his journeys, and he studied it, since he was fascinated by the history of the GD Dark Brethren. The device was very powerful, much more than Tyrion suspected, and its dark side energy corrupted the GD slowly, so subtly he never even saw what was going on with him. As the old saying went, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Tyrion used gained knowledge to accomplish some of his GD tasks, and saw nothing wrong with that. So he sought more knowledge wanting to do more good. And his fate was sealed. In time he forgot his old self and caution, and greedily immersed himself in the Sith lore, thus becoming what he stared into for too long. A new Sith Lord was born, Darth Avarice. And Darth Avarice did, as many Sith before him, he started a war to conquer the galaxy under his rule, for he believed he could rule better than some ordinary mortals. He worked long, and in secret created a sect of force-sensitive followers, who were seduced by his promises of power, justice, and greatness. But again, the GD proved too numerous, and too strong to be defeated, and Darth Avarice was on the run. Darth Avarice managed to evade the GD for some time, but one GD remained on his trail, and they were now on this ancient planet doing battle with each other. Massive pieces of stone and metal were flung around telekinetically, lightning attacks were repelled by the force shield, and lightsabers hummed and twanged loudly whenever they clashed. Red versus Azure Blue cast eerie light around uncovering the fighters. One was a man in his 40s, and black clothes and armor, his face snarling, and his eyes yellow and crimson. He was the mighty Sith Lord. His enemy was a huge hairy GD Master Dubik. His great strength was a massive addition to his exceptional force powers. Surrender now, Tyrion, and the GD Council may show leniency. Dubik's translator said, as the GD kept his guard. Darth Avarice hissed at hearing his old name that meant nothing to him anymore. Never. I shall win, and return at a later time to prevail against the Republic, and you fools. The power of the dark side can't be denied. But Avarice wasn't a fool. His enemy was 68 years old, and still vigorous, as if he was 20. And Dubik was a famous sword fighter whose strength and speed were legendary, and his force powers were great, as well. Old Tyrion Sorrel wouldn't stand a chance. But not Darth Avarice, who possessed a great knowledge of the Sith powers. Sadly, he didn't have time to master them all, but one technique jumped in his mind. It was truly his last resort. He unleashed a barrage of lightning and debris at the Wookiee, and retreated whilst focusing his immense hatred and anger. He rediscovered an ancient dark side power to warp the very fabric of space and time, a way to unleash the hyperspace storm. It was a monstrous technique able to raise whole fleets of ships or cities at once. Or one could use it to fling objects across the interstellar distance, depending how good their control was. It was nearly impossible to control such things, yet at the moment Darth Avarice considered it an acceptable risk. He nearly laughed at the sight of the blue-gray vortex of energies he summoned. He was doing it. Then something caught his attention. It was a white-blue shaft of energy protruding from his chest. He stared at it, realizing he was mortally wounded by Dubik's lightsaber, while Set GD Master was rapidly retreating, considering his ever-shrinking figure in the distance. Avarice had only enough time to swear loudly, as the vortex descended and collapsed, causing a massive explosion that was visible for kilometers around. Avarice's last thought was that at least his killer would die with him, and it didn't make him as happy as he would have liked. 10 minutes after the explosion, a large pile of rubble exploded, and bleeding Master Dubik crawled out coughing and roaring happily. He managed to jump in a large hole and cover it with much debris to protect himself from the blast wave, and his force shielding helped too. He patted his dirty fur and began to trek towards his ship. He sighed. He lost his lightsaber. It would be difficult to make another that was as good. Several kilometers from Konoha, a blinding flash of light pulsed and died too quickly to be seen by anybody. Something dropped on the grassy ground. It was a corpse, blackened and misshapen, giving an impression that something fried it and then stepped on it for fun. It wasn't impossible in the world of ninja, not with all those summons. But to the former inhabitant of said corpse it wasn't known, and he didn't really care. Darth Avarice's invisible spirit hovered over his charred flesh, marveling at the fact that he somehow survived the blast and the lightsaber stabbing. But he had no time to think. His spirit needed a place of power to nourish its preternatural existence, and so he cast his mind around to sense the force. To his luck he found it only a short distance away, a small settlement of humans, and there was a lot of hate and fear there. Also, he could sense a dark, malicious presence there, a focal point that might suit his needs. He flew across the eddies of the force, which was somehow different here, but not enough to matter to him. He was quick to notice a strange barrier around the village. It held some presence in the force, but not enough to stop him or even react to his presence. He focused his senses, and flew across the primitive settlement, only to find a lone human child of 6 years. It was strange how dual the boy's presence was. He was sad and lonely, yet in him Darth Avarice sensed a massive hate and destructive instinct. The blonde boy was also quite strong in the force. His mind was naturally blocking out his hate and anger. Darth Avarice saw a great potential here, so he studied the boy closer. He saw it then, a flash of the strangest image he ever encountered. There was a massive energy-based entity within the child, a prisoner who was actually a source of the massive hate he sensed. He licked his non-material lips, and divided within the boy who shuddered at the sudden cold in his stomach. Darth Avarice was surprised to find himself in front of a huge cage with some strange symbols on it. Then two large eyes appeared within the cage, and they blasted Avarice with a massive dose of angry killing intent. Avarice just stood there, and took it without blinking. He waved his hand, and the feeling subsided. "Who are you, intruder?" The voice shook the chamber. Darth Avarice wasn't impressed, but he chose to be careful, and be polite. "I am Darth Avarice, the Dark Lord of the Sith. Forgive me for my intrusion, but I was curious about your presence within the child that caught my attention. I wasn't aware it was possible for something so vast and powerful to exist within a human." Kyuubi no Kitsune blinked at the apparently dead human, who somehow appeared inside the seal, and was able to talk to him, even though he obviously didn't speak human tongue. He sensed an opportunity here, and chose to restrain his impulse to blast the spirit away. "You speak well for the one who died. I am Mighty Kyuubi, the nine-tailed fox. I can cause mountains to crumble, seas to rise, and storms to wreak havoc and destruction. I am immortal. I see. Well, I'm honored by Kyuubi. Cease the human prattle. Let us hear what is your interest with my host." Kyuubi growled, narrowing his eyes. He was very possessive of his container, as he was already preparing it to serve his purpose. Darth Avarice grinned evilly. "Oh, nothing much. I thought to possess him, and take his body, as mine, but then you are here, and his mind is already pretty powerful. But I need an excess of hate and anger to latch onto to survive somehow. I'd like to stay with you and survive. In turn I will help your host to become so powerful that no one will be able to stand in his path and survive. In doing it, I sense you would gain your revenge. Am I right? Kyuubi growled as he thought about it. The spirit was in his domain, at his mercy, and it was offering to train his host to become powerful. Maybe strong enough to kill that filthy Uchiha. What powers can you teach to my host? I have a strong enemy, someone with chakra even more evil than mine. Darth Avars shrugged. In theory he could learn to do anything he wants to, if he has the strength and patience. He will be able to see the future, past, and present. He will learn to move things with his mind, to create illusions that seem real. In time he will be able to kill with just a thought, and much, much more. He is stronger in the Force, more than I was when I was just a GD. Kyuubi liked what he heard, but this spirit was obviously evil, maybe even more so than that Uchiha. But for now, it was weak, and in his power. And if his host became so strong, well that was good, and very bad for the Uchiha vermin. You may say spirit, and teach my host to be strong. Darth Avars bowed, and grinned in response. Oh, I will make him strong, there is no doubt about that. But, I normally don't like humans, and I wouldn't care at all if you possess this one. But since he is my host I can't allow that. So mark my words to dead one. If you do try to trick me or my host there will be hell to pay. Kyuubi said while exuding a massive killing intent that made the boy who contained both entities shiver violently. I understand you perfectly Kyuubi, Darth Avars said with a smirk. I will keep my word, and do my best to make your host strong. And I will not possess him. With that being cleared, Avars faded from the cage, and found himself staring at the blonde child who gazed at the moon with longing and sadness that made Avars sick. He had grown numb to such feelings, and considered them weaknesses. He focused on the boy and his thoughts, and he smiled cruelly at what he saw there. His name was Uzumaki Naruto, and he was hated by everyone in Konoha for no apparent reason, and he had no friends, except for the old leader of the village. He hated being bullied by older kids, and he hated being ignored and alone. But he couldn't do anything to change that, so he was just sad and lonely, yet the hope still lingered in his heart. Someday, he would be famous and respected, like Hokage was. Darth Avars chuckled. This boy was the perfect candidate for becoming his apprentice. He focused his energy, and the boy gaped at his presence. He sent waves of calm, and controlled the boy's reactions. Relax boy, I'm not here to hurt you. Why are you? Naruto said feeling very afraid. He heard many scary ghost tales. I'm a spear sent to help you, Naruto. Naruto panicked. It was a ghost. I said I'm here to help you boy. Darth Avars growled. So stop being a scaredy cat, and talk to me. Or I'm never returning. Naruto grew scared he would lose this one being who acknowledged his existence. I'm sorry, I was just surprised. Please, don't go. Alright, relax, I won't go away. Tell me, are you happy? Naruto grew sad again, and shook his head. You're alone, and nobody likes you, right? Naruto nodded. And would you like to change that? Naruto nodded vigorously again, not trusting himself to speak. How? I dunno, I guess I wanna be strong, and wise like the old man. He is the Hokage, and everyone likes him. Ah, so you want to be strong, and respected. I can help you with that, but it won't be easy or fast. I'm not afraid of hard work. Naruto started staring at the spirit hard for the first time. His eyes grew steely, determined. There was power in his voice now. Darth Avars nodded in satisfaction. This one was not afraid. Then I shall take you, as my apprentice Naruto. Avars said, and showed Naruto his black-clad form, and his glowing yellow-red eyes. Naruto didn't blink, Konoha was full of red-eyed freaky ninja. I accepted. Naruto said, and Avars laughed, sending shivers down Naruto's back. Welcome to the Sith Order Naruto. I will be your master, call me Master Avars. And in the distance one masked man stood up, as the rain showered his black-cloaked form. He was suddenly very worried about something. But the moment passed, and he focused on his next destination, Konoha. He had a student to educate on finer points of the casting with the Sharingan. He was a promising one, but not exactly in the way he expected. Perhaps his brother would be worth watching, as well. He vanished. 7 years have passed since Naruto met his master. Darth Avars kept his word, and taught the boy many great things about the Force, especially about the dark side, and Naruto absorbed those lessons like a sponge. By the time he was enrolled at the Academy for Ninjas, Naruto was a different person. He wasn't a cheery idiot with a loud voice, and clothes that begged for their wearer's death. No, he was silent and attentive, he didn't attract attention, and he didn't really try to make any friends over years of his attendance. Most of the kids ignored him anyway or shied away from him because their parents told them he was bad. Naruto was fine with that, he had better things to do than making meaningless friendships. He learned all he could about being ninja. Those lessons only reinforced what he learned from his disembodied master. The deception was key to victory, to survival, and that one had to do all he can to survive in the harsh world of ninja. He mastered his emotions first under Darth Avars, mainly his fear. It was the first and most important part of being a Force user, be it GD or Sith. Later he learned to see without his eyes, to hear without his ears, and finally he mastered the art of sensing the world through the force itself, and that lesson was the second most important. He would never be blind or deaf, nor would he succumb to any stupid chakra illusion, which was a pale useless thing next to force-based illusions and mind-bending tricks. He learned to trust the force to guide his decisions, his moves in combat, and to empower his body and mind. He learned to move things without touching them, or to sense other people's thoughts and emotions. That ability disabused him of any hope for being accepted by the village. It was a harsh and cold truth. He discovered why he hated so much, and that cemented his dislike of Konoha. He had no loyalty to the village that used him to survive Kyuubi's attack, instead he chose to use them too. It was really pragmatic, as everyone used each other anyway. Bakers made bread for others who made tools for bakers, civilians provided infrastructural support for ninjas who were protectors and fundraisers. And it was just a practical division of duties, since no one could do all of it at once. The village used Naruto as their sacrifice and scapegoat, and he was going to use the village to gain power and victory over his most dangerous enemies. If he could get away with it, he would have left the village already. But he knew that other villages wouldn't be better than Konoha, so he stayed. In fact, he didn't plan on staying in any village. He already decided to work for his own goals. During his years at the academy, he was very focused on training, so he trained ninja arts during the day, and his force skills during nights and mornings. He didn't need to sleep more than 2 or 3 hours a day, because of his demon's healing power, and due to his force meditations. In fact, he could go for days without sleep or eating, but he chose not to overdo it. He learned how to use chakra, and how to control it better with the help of the force, so he was ahead of his peers in every way. He just didn't show off. Chakra did have one unforeseen effect on Naruto. The only thing that Darth Avarice found worthy about it made Naruto stronger, more resistant to devastating effects that the dark side had on its users, which in turn staved off or even removed mind-altering effects it had on the Sith. The dark side required powerful emotions to be used, and in turn it increased those emotions, thus changing the personalities of the Sith. And that was the result of inherent weakness in all sentients who used the Force. Their bodies were not as powerful as the dark side, and it was the reason it wreaked havoc on them and their minds. Even the ordinary GD would feel exhausted after intense usage of the Force. That's why they trained their minds to refine their control and channel to improve their abilities. Same went for the Sith, but limits were there and quite hard to bypass. It seemed that Naruto had a way to endure the ravages of the dark side, and now he was to graduate from the academy and become a full-fledged ninja of the village he detested. It was the last day when a final exam was held. It involved a show of proficiency with basics taught by the academy. It was to be the Bunshin, a flimsy non-corporeal illusion of the caster being multiplied. It required a fine chakra control, since it didn't need much chakra to execute. Henge and Kaworimi were more chakra intensive. Naruto sucked at Bunshins, but he had the Force on his side, and he was quite certain he would pass the exam. He watched, as students were called for testing one by one. He was going to be the last due to his name. Most of his classmates were average, and wouldn't make much of themselves. But some had great potential, like Uchiha Sasuke. Too bad he was so screwed in his head, that was going to ruin him, Naruto thought. The last Uchiha was very talented and focused, but he was also full of hate for the man who murdered his whole clan. It was his own older brother whom he idolized so much, only to get spared as worthless as being killed by his hand. Sasuke swore to get his revenge one day, and lived only for it. Naruto felt amused by such an attitude, because it was shit. Sasuke didn't train like he was obsessed, no matter what he believed. Naruto knew of at least one kid who would put Sasuke's determination to shame. Too bad that the guy was a weird freak with a green spandex obsession. Sasuke believed he only needed his Sharingan to grow strong, and that attitude was idiotic to the extreme. The last Uchiha was surprisingly arrogant, believing he was some big shot just for being an Uchiha and the Rookie of the Year. He forgot his brother was already at a high level at the same age. Uzumaki Naruto, come in. Iruka's voice was heard from the examination room, and Naruto calmly left his seat and entered. Hi sensei, he said while nodding respectfully. Iruka was a tall young man with dark tan, and a large scar across his nose and cheeks. He was one of the few who stopped hating Naruto, and the boy respected him for that. Alright, you know the deal. Make 3 clones, and you pass. Start when you're ready. Naruto nodded, and formed a hand seal, and suddenly there were 3 more Narutos in the room. Iruka looked pleased, and his assistant, Toji Mizuki, looked surprised, and Naruto felt his anger at him. That was usual for Mizuki, who was angry at everyone, even his supposedly best pal Iruka. He just hid it well. Naruto suspected Mizuki was a spy or traitor, but he never saw the man do something of the sort. Good job, Naruto. Iruka was genuinely pleased. You can have your headband. Congratulations. Naruto took one of several headbands, and tied it to his biceps. He grinned. He passed so easily, and nobody would know how. He actually used the Force to make an illusion of 3 clones, and his teachers didn't understand what happened, because he didn't use chakra for them. Oh, he did channel chakra, but it was just to cover his tracks. Easy. Thanks sensei, see you around. Sure, Naruto. Iruka chuckled and watched as Naruto strutted away. He had a feeling that Naruto was going to do big things. He walked out the academy ignoring stares and whispers of the villagers who were always worried he might do something to them with his power. He was going to, but not what they expected. Oh yes, Naruto smirked as he walked. He was going to make them realize some things, but when he deemed it appropriate, not when they expected it. He was very surprised when Mizuki came to see him in the afternoon. When Naruto opened the door, Mizuki was all smiles. Naruto saw through it and smirked inwardly. Mizuki was going to try something. Hey sensei, what's up? Can I come to Naruto? I have something important to tell you. Sure. Naruto stepped aside and the treacherous sensei entered. He sat at Naruto's table and looked around. Naruto's place was very ordinary, just a small bachelor's apartment consisting of one big room and bathroom. There was a small wardrobe, one bed, and small kitchen set for cooking, and a fridge. Mizuki once lived in a similar place. I'll be quick about this, Naruto. I'm here to give you the real genin exam. What? Naruto was surprised. Mizuki smirked, enjoying the boy's surprise. Oh, he was going to pull this off after all. Did you really believe that just a simple bunchin would be enough to become a genin? Naruto frowned. Well, I was a bit disappointed. Good, because this isn't a cakewalk, Naruto. Your test is a mock-up of the infiltrate and steal scenario, just like you have been taught at the academy. What's the objective? You have to infiltrate the Hokage's tower and steal a particular scroll. Don't worry, you'll have a fair chance for this to work. The security is low tonight. I mean, nobody expects a fresh genin to do this for real. Mizuki explained with earnest expression. Naruto didn't fall for it, not for 1 second. Mizuki pulled out a small scroll. Here are your instructions, and follow them carefully. Destroyed the scroll after memorizing it. Naruto took the scroll, and Mizuki stood up. He left the apartment with an insincere good luck to Naruto. Naruto read the scroll, and smiled at the empty air where his master hovered unseen to everybody but him. What do you think about my apprentice? Darth Avars asked. It's a setup, what else? Of course. What will you do? Naruto grinned evilly. I'll think of something appropriate. Mizuki will get his deserved punishment one way or another. Mizuki was cursing to himself as he was racing through the forest towards his cottage. It was pretty far away and isolated. He chose this location to meet Naruto after he stole the forbidden scroll, so he could get rid of the brat without witnesses. But the kid managed to steal the scroll without being seen, and now Mizuki couldn't lay the blame on the demon brat in a convincing manner. He had to kill him, and get rid of his body, and probably run with the scroll immediately, instead of waiting for a better time to do it unseen and unsuspected. He grinned as he saw the boy wait for him like a lamb for slaughter. What took you so long, Mizuki-sensei? Naruto said while holding up a large scroll that was actually the most prized possession of Konoha. It contained the most powerful forbidden known to the village, and only Hokages ever read them or added new ones. Naruto learned a few things this evening. Mizuki jumped down before his soon-to-be victim, and shrugged. Sorry kiddo, I had some duties to perform before this one. You did a great job, nobody could identify the identity of the thief. Hokage-sama was impressed by your skill. So I pass, eh? With flying colors, Naruto. Mizuki chuckled. In fact, you've done so well that I've decided to be nice, and tell you a secret. What secret? Naruto asked curiously. Did you know that Sandaime passed a law when you were born? It's the one everyone knows about except for you, and your generation. Oh, you mean about me, and Kyuubi? Naruto said with a smile, and shrugged. Mizuki gaped in surprise, he was shocked. Naruto stared at Mizuki with amusement. I've known for a while, Mizuki-sensei, some people just can't keep secrets. Naruto took the secret out of the mind of some old bastard before he killed him. He made sure it looked like a brain stroke. You little bastard. Mizuki growled. You've been deceiving us the whole time. Of course I did, but don't worry. I'm not Kyuubi, but then you don't care. You tried to set me up for this theft, and now I'm going to show you the meaning of pain. So you know my little plan, eh? Mizuki said. It doesn't matter, I'll kill you, and hide the scroll. They'll believe you stole it, and escaped with it. I'll get it later, and disappear. Nice, but don't you think you forgot one tiny detail in that plan? What detail? Mizuki scowled, pulling out his kunai. What makes you so sure you'll manage to kill me? Naruto asked, as he drew his own kunai. Mizuki grinned viciously. Funny, very funny Uzumaki. I can beat dozens of you anytime I want. He lunged at Naruto, who sidestepped and kicked at the back of his knee. Mizuki leapt ahead and twisted, landing face to face with Naruto again. Nice try, brat, but I'm not playing games anymore. Die. Mizuki blurred and flashed close to Naruto and swung quickly. Naruto dodged the blade, but he received a few shallow cuts on shoulders and left cheek. Mizuki kicked at his sternum, and Naruto flew back coughing blood. Mizuki appeared in front of him and grinned. Did you really believe you were up to my level, kid? I hate you brats, you have no idea what is really out there in the real world. Goodbye, demon brat. He dashed slow, ready to plunge his kunai in Naruto's head, but Naruto moved impossibly fast and extended his hand, sending another kunai out of his sleeve, and it struck Mizuki's eye so hard it threw the traitorous on his back. Idiot, Naruto growled. I had to make it look like self-defense. I could have killed you in 1 second. Stupid, thinking he was something special. Let's finish this show. Naruto created 2 shadow clones who gathered Mizuki's corpse, and he took the forbidden scroll. It was time to face Sandaime and convince him of his story. Halt in the name of Sandaime Hokage. Someone shouted at Naruto and his clones as they were walking through the forest near a populated zone. He was on his way to Sandaime's office in Hokage's tower. It was one lone Nanbu, a member of the elite force directly answerable to Hokage. They were the best in the village who performed on regular basis missions of the highest importance, and risk. In short, they were black ops who did whatever was asked of identities that were kept secret for plausible deniability, and to protect them later on when they quit. To make a clear picture of their job, it was enough to say that they were Hokage's personal geniuses in the lamp. He would say this or that had to be done, and they would go at it until it was done. No matter the risk of their survival. Every village had their version of such elite organizations. And the members were utterly loyal to their cage. Naruto probed this one with the force, and relaxed he wasn't one of Danzo's root agents. Danzo, fully named Shimura Danzo, was a powerful figure in Konoha's military and political structure, and his influence was significant. He had many backers, secret and open, who agreed with his attitude that Konoha was too soft and peaceful for a hidden village. Danzo believed in war and power as means of security and prosperity. He also disliked emotional subordinates. He was of the thought that all ninja were just tools who served their purpose, and that emotion was just a weakness for them. He was willing to do anything to accomplish his goal, a powerful and prosperous Konoha with ninjas who were elites and unflinchingly loyal. During the previous war, he formed and led a secret branch of Anbu, the Root. Its mandate was to weaken Konoha's enemies and sabotage them. Also, it was supposed to be the ultimate weapon with suicidally loyal agents. Near the end of the last war, Konoha was winning, and Danzo's project was officially terminated. But just on the surface, because Danzo managed to keep his agents active, but in secret, totally off the record, and he spread his network slowly. He commanded his own private section of Anbu which were mixed with regular Anbu, and he was using them as he saw fit. And that included sending them on unsanctioned missions against any perceived threat to Konoha. In his years at the head of the Root Division, Danzo has managed to stop many conflicts and threats. In fact, he was keeping the balance of forces in the world. He operated thinking that his aged former friend Hiruzen Tsurutobi, Sandaime Hokage, was unaware of all that. It was a lie. Tsurutobi knew that his old friend was running his root core around under his nose, but he chose to let him get away with it, as long as he kept a low profile, and didn't try to betray the village. Naruto knew all these things because his master liked to snoop around and observe the village when he wasn't teaching him. Darth Avarice was the perfect spy. And Naruto knew the identities of root agents by simply searching for their loyalty seals drawn on their tongues. Danzo gave them to every root member, so they couldn't talk about root or him, no matter how much they wanted to. Anbu-san, I have the scroll. I was going to return it to the old man Hokage. Naruto explained when the masked ninja landed in front of him. His mask was polished wood and ceramic melded together, forming a very resistant material. It was owl-shaped, so his codename was Owl probably. And what's with the corpse of the, if I'm not mistaken, he is one of the academy teachers. Owl said, still suspicious. Naruto nodded and started to send waves of trust through the force to calm him down. That's right, Anbu-san, he is Toji Mizuki, my former instructor at the academy. He was the one who told me to steal the scroll and showed me exactly how to bypass the security systems around it. He tried to kill me when he came to meet me at his cottage. I had to defend myself. You stole the scroll. Why did you listen to that suggestion from him? He said it was the real genin exam, and I had no reason to suspect he was lying. I mean, it was kinda easy to pass the one we had that day. Naruto explained. There was no real exam, wasn't it? There's one actually, but that is given by your future sensei. Alright, I believe you, Uzumaki. I'm taking you straight to the Hokage via Shunshin no. I think you should not be seen tonight by anyone but me and my colleagues. Wait until my team arrives to take Mizuki's body. 15 minutes later, Naruto was in Tsurutobi's office with L. Sandaime took the scroll from Naruto and set it down next to his chair. Thank you, L, you may leave. Sandaime said, and the Anbu agent disappeared through the floor via some sinking through stone. I'm in trouble, old man, aren't I? Naruto said, as he stood in front of the only man he genuinely respected. Tsurutobi was the only person he remembered that was always kind to him. In the last few years their contacts were less frequent, but it was necessary. The old man was always busy, and Naruto had his own training to do. But he always got his birthday presents from the aged leader, which meant a lot to him despite everything he believed about Konoha. I don't think so, Naruto. Sandaime smiled, as he lit his trusted old pipe. You did return the scroll after all, and that proves you were just set up by Mizuki. Don't worry, my man will confirm your words. I shouldn't have trusted him, he was always weird. How? He was always smiling, and good-natured with everyone. But that's why I suspected him. I mean, he was even nice to me, and that was weird. Even Iruka-sensei hated me at first. I see. So tell me what happened, all of it in order. It would give me valuable evidence for further investigation. Naruto nodded. Sure. Mizuki-sensei came to my place today after the exam, and told me that there was a real exam. He gave me the scroll with instructions on how to get it without being seen, and how to disarm those security seals around it. Strange. Sandaime frowned. A man of his rank couldn't have known about those seals, and how to disarm them. They were my personal designs. I don't know how he got them, someone must have told him. Naruto said, and shrugged. Sandaime on the other hand had a very good idea. Anyway, we met at the cottage, and he was all nice until he told me about your little law about me. Sandaime froze for a second, then sagged in the chair feeling the guilt. So you know your burden. Naruto nodded. His eyes were steel. I wasn't too happy to learn I was being hated for something I wasn't responsible for in the first place. And more than that, you lied to me my whole life. Were you ever going to tell me? I was, after you became. It sounded weak, and Naruto snorted. Sandaime sighed sadly. I'm sorry Naruto, I was just trying to give you a normal childhood. You were just a baby, and no one could expect a child to be able to handle that knowledge. The law I made was to give you the chance with your generation, since it was obvious that the adults were quite against you. It didn't work, did it? Naruto was bitter. Well, he wasn't really, but one had to keep up pretenses. Someone might find it tad strange if he took the news calmly. I'm sorry my boy. I tried my best, but even I can't make people love someone just like that. No one can. I know an old man, I do. It wasn't about being loved, you know, I just hated being ignored and bullied for no apparent reason. They all glared at me and shunned me as soon as they saw me. Like I was a disease they feared. In time things will be better, trust me Naruto. Sandaime said with much hope and conviction in his voice. Maybe, we'll see. Naruto appeared undecided, but it was enough for Sandaime. He smiled gently. It will be better, just wait and see. Can I finish my report? I'm getting sick of your sweet mushy words. Naruto said in an annoyed tone that made Sandaime chuckle. As I said, Mizuki-sensei attempted to kill me, and we fought. He was quite strong and fast, but he made one error in his plan. What was it? Naruto grinned wide. He forgot I could read the scroll after disabling all those seals on it. I learned Shadow Clone No, and it saved my ass tonight. You did that in just one night. Sandaime was shocked. In just an hour or two actually. Sandaime stared at the blonde in amazement. He knew Naruto was capable, but that was brilliant. To be able to master a rank in just 2 hours, well that was on the level of genius he hadn't seen since Orochimaru was his student. Tell me Naruto, did you happen to read more than one? Sandaime was ready to eat his hat if Naruto didn't. You know me too well, old man. I did read several of them, but most were too complicated to memorize or to even understand quickly. That's why I just memorized exploding clones, but there was no description of the Shadow Shuriken technique. It was just mentioned there. I know, it's not as chakra intensive as those two you know. Sandaime said. You did well not to mess with the rest of them, they're forbidden for a reason. Since you've shown some prudence on that matter, I'll give you instructions on how to perform the Shadow Shuriken. Is that alright? That's just fine, old man. Naruto was happy. Tell me the rest of the story Naruto. Okay, as I was saying Mizuki-sensei was really strong, but he was caught off guard when I summoned some shadow clones. He got me on the ground and tried to stab me in the head, but one of my clones jumped him and gave me a chance to kill him first. I got him with my kunai in the eye. He died instantly. You don't seem to regret what occurred. Sandaime started feeling half worried. I had my moment of freaking out in the forest, old man, Naruto stated coolly. But I don't regret saving myself. I never will. He was a traitor, and he tried to kill me. Of course Naruto, I was just worried for your sake. It can't have been easy to discover all those things, and stay calm. Yeah, well I stayed cool all my life, and I'm not about to change now. I've got my whole life ahead, I will not waste it crying about what happened. I have to learn from my mistakes, and move on. Sarutobi nodded admiring Naruto's tenacity. That boy never cried about his life, and never complained. He just went forward stubbornly refusing to back down when things become difficult, which was always in his case. It was a trait both of his parents shared. Alright Naruto, you go home, and I'll settle this matter. Sarutobi said, and watched Naruto go. As soon as he was gone Owl rose from the floor like a ghost. Sarutobi stared at his agent hard. Follow him, and make sure nothing untoward happens to him, or I'll be most displeased. Report to me only if he does something strange. Is he still a suspect of foul play, then? Hardly, I'm just worried he might do something rash in his state. He just discovered the truth about Kyuubi and himself. And his teacher tried to kill him. He might seem fine for now, but he could snap any moment. But if he stays calm until dawn, he'll probably be just fine. Hi Hokage-sama. If I may say so, he's one tough brat. I thought you didn't like him. Sarutobi said in surprise. I don't, I'm just saying he is strong. But I still think he is just trouble waiting to happen. Maybe, but he is our creation Owl-san, and we have to bear it. Naruto is a victim here, he was never given a choice in his life. Owl just bowed, and sank to the floor again. Sarutobi just shook his head in amusement. Owl always did that when he couldn't win an argument. Naruto, move out of that seat. Sakura screeched angrily at the young Sith apprentice, completely unaware of the fact she was ordering around maybe the most deadly person alive. Luckily for her, Naruto wasn't offended, since something so trivial like pink-haired Sasuke fangirl didn't even register on his list of people who mattered. Very few did actually. He glanced at stiff Sasuke and smirked evilly. Sure Haruno, I'm moving already. He drawled, enjoying Sasuke's growing horror, as his fangirls, the worst of them being Yamanaka Ino and Haruno Sakura, surrounded his position in all-out fight for the seat next to him. Naruto found a new place to sit at, next to Shikamaru. Shikamaru was currently not asleep, he just sat in his chair with the expression of utter boredom. Which wasn't strange, Shikamaru was so smart that everything was boring to him except sleeping, playing shogi or watching clouds. Wasn't that cruel, Uzumaki? He asked Naruto, who was still smirking. Nah, the Uchiha deserves all the attention he can get, his ego can stand anything. Troublesome, that's what you and he are. Really? I'm sure you won't do a thing about it. Shikamaru just shook his head. They both looked at Iruka, who used his big head to scare away Sasuke's fans. Sasuke glared at Naruto, promising retribution, and Naruto just chuckled in turn. Alright everyone, again I congratulate you on graduating from the academy. You are now real ninjas of this village, and this isn't training anymore. Remember what you learned, and you'll be fine. I expect you to do your duties with utmost diligence, and not to dishonor your village. From now on you'll be placed in teams of 3 under the tutelage of your sensei. Team 1. Akihara Rei, Samira Toki. Iruka began droning, as Sasuke's fans awaited who among them would end his squad. There were a lot of possibilities. Team 7 under had Kakashi. Haruno Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke. Iruka winced, as the little banshee screamed in victory, and Uzumaki Naruto. Iruka paled, as he was hit by a feeling of utter dread, and he saw Naruto's cold stare. He swallowed a lump in his throat, and continued shakily to announce other teams. He hoped Naruto didn't consider him responsible for his placement. It was Hokage's decision in the end. An hour passed since senseis came, and picked up their future students. Naruto was pretty pissed off at being placed in the same cell as Sasuke and Sakura. He didn't like them, and the feeling was mutual. The only person who was happy to be on Team 7 was Sakura, since it was her dream to end up together with Sasuke. Sasuke was clearly unhappy for being saddled with 2 burdens. Like usual, he thought he was the only one who mattered, and that he could do everything, and everyone else was just insignificant in comparison with his Uchiha tragedy and life. Naruto was amused by his irritation caused by Sakura's frowning and hopeful attempts to gain his attention. The girl was persistent if nothing else. Finally he got fed up with them, their no-show sensei, and he was hungry. He started to walk away. What are you doing, Naruto? Sakura asked in surprise. I'm leaving, it's obvious our sensei isn't going to show up. You can't go, she screeched. Watch me. Naruto waved and disappeared through the door after dropping a smoke bomb. Sasuke and Sakura just stared in shock. Sasuke-kun, what do we do? Sakura asked, feeling very scared. Her parents always warned her not to mix up with Naruto. He was trouble, they said. It seemed they were right. Sasuke sat down and assumed his cool sitting pose. He knew it was cool, he practiced in front of his mirrors. Who cares what that moron does, as long as he doesn't get in my way. Sasuke was so cool. Sakura blushed and smiled coyly. 2 hours later Sakura was silent and slouched in her chair. Sasuke still looked cool, and so did Uchiha. They perked up as the door to their classroom slid open. A man entered. They were surprised by his appearance. He was slouched and had gravity-defying silver hair. But the rest of him was covered by clothes. He wore gloves with cut-off fingers, a standard vest over black long-sleeved shirt, black pants, and sandals. His face was mostly covered by the black mask, and his left eye was hidden below a wide headband that was slanted for that purpose. He looked weird, especially with that small red book in his left hand. Your Team 7. My first impression of you is, where's the 3rd member of your team? Sakura wanted to die of shame. Her first meeting with Sensei was ruined. He was sure to be mad at them for letting Naruto go. Sasuke on the other hand just scowled before deigning to explain what happened. He left some time ago, he was convinced you wouldn't come. Ha! Kakashi was surprised. It was the first time that someone decided not to wait on him. That was different. Then he watched with mild amusement as his students fidgeted slightly as he was thinking. It gave him an idea, he was a genius. Alright, I suppose it has to be this way. I'm going to give you a test to see if you're worthy of being my students. What? Sakura asked in shock, much to Kakashi's amusement. Did you really think that to be Jen and you only had to make some bunchin? Both Jen and frowned, realizing what was being said. The academy was just checking out their grasp on basics of being ninja obviously. Kakashi chuckled loudly as he saw them make the connection. You see, only we senseis can decide if one is fit to be a ninja. Since your 3rd man is gone, and you can't become my students without him, this is your test. Find Uzumaki Naruto. Make sure he is with you too on top of this building in 3 hours. I don't care how, but all 3 of you must be there within 3 hours or you fail my test, and can go back to the academy for another year of tests beginning now. He chuckled as they tore out of the room, and slowly went to the roof. This was great, he was getting rid of another team of annoying kids. Sasuke and Sakura were already on one of the numerous roofs of the village trying to spot Naruto. Sasuke was fairly pissed at the blonde kid. Who was he to stand in his way? In all honesty, Sasuke didn't know a thing about Naruto. Oh, they did know each other, but nothing beyond casual contacts during their classes. To Sasuke, Naruto was just another run-of-the-mill clanless kid who wouldn't amount to much as a ninja. Well, he was the last Uchiha, one of the elite who were born and bred for this. He had to become a genin. He needed to learn all things to advance in ranks and power, so he could achieve his true goal to kill that man. And Naruto was jeopardizing that, which was unforgivable. Where is he? Sasuke muttered, and Sakura heard it. He could be anywhere, Sasuke-kun. But I know he likes to eat at Ichiraku's ramen stand. Maybe we can gather more information there. Chen, it's worth a try. Sasuke agreed after thinking about it. Let's go. They were at the stand 10 minutes later. It was just another food stand like many others in Konoha, but the Ichiraku's was known for its good ramen, so it was always busy. The owner was a man in his late 40s or early 50s, wearing white cook's clothing, and he had 2 helpers, and his daughter who was the waitress when she didn't cook. There were 2 older ninjas who ate their food quickly and vanished after paying for it. Welcome to the Ichiraku's, my name is Aim. What can I get you? Ichiraku's daughter said with a warm smile. She was 15, and already a beautiful girl with light brown hair. We'd like to know where we can find Uzumaki Naruto. Sasuke said, preferring to be direct. Naruto-kun? Aim asked in surprise. Why? Sakura smiled hesitatingly. Well, our sensei wants us to find him. It's just a test for us. Naruto is our teammate. Oh, I see. Well, you could try at his home. He lives in an apartment in the Ichiyo sector. You know it. Ichioi was one of those poor districts in Konoha, and a lot of ninjas who were single lived there. It was cheap, simple, but not safe. Many regular civilians tended to avoid the zone, since hardier elements of society gravitated there. It was normal for any civilized settlement to have bad zones. Do you know any other places? Sasuke asked. Not really, Aim smiled apologetically, bowing to the Uchiha. I'm afraid Naruto-kun is a very private person. He likes to eat here, but he doesn't come as often as he used to. He's had a hard life, so he doesn't trust people like he used to. Sakura was curious now. I can't imagine him as a different person from Aim-sen. He's always so detached. Sasuke finished for her. That was the best way to describe Naruto. Oh, he smiled at times, and made jokes, did his homework, and studied, just like everyone else. But he always seemed untroubled by anything, even by some teachers who openly disliked him for some reason. Naruto never got angry or insulted. He was like water, always somehow shifting around everything, and staying untouched. At times when he thought about it, which was very rare, Sasuke was creeped out by it. It reminded him somewhat of that man. I understand what you mean. Aim said sadly. You should have seen him years ago. He was so vibrant, loud, and caring. He used to wear orange, it was his favorite color in the world. He stopped when he started the academy. Now he's a shadow of his former self. I guess living alone for so long without friends or family got to him in the end. Is there any other place we could try? Sakura tried to get some more information. I don't know, perhaps he still goes to Hokage Mountain. He always liked to sit on Yondame's head. Yondame was his hero, you know. Sasuke saw this was a concerning Naruto. He bowed politely, and walked away with Sakura in tow. Sakura, you go, and check his apartment. I'll go to the mountain since I'm faster. We'll meet at the Hokage's tower in 30 minutes tops. It was fruitless. Naruto was simply gone. They tried a wide search across the village using rooftops, as vantage points from which they scanned crowds, and places hoping to catch the sight of Naruto's distinct blonde hair. It was useless. Finally both of the genin returned to the academy, and warily walked to its roof, where their not going to be sensei was waiting with his face buried in that little red book. Sasuke was swearing to beat Naruto to the death. Sakura was resigned to her fate. Kakashi smiled to himself, as he saw those two walk in front of him. Well, you're back. Let's see in 10 minutes you and I will part our ways. Sasuke glared at Kakashi, and Sakura fell on her ass. There goes her future with Sasuke-kun. Hey, what's going on? Naruto's voice echoed around the trio, and Kakashi swore inwardly. So close to another year of brat-free life. Sasuke glared at Naruto, but was elated because he was a genin now. Sakura moaned in relief, love was on her side. Kakashi put his Bakuware's eye to his fate. He should have known when Sandame smirked at him this morning. Welcome to our first team meeting, Uzumaki. All of you sit. Since we're officially a team, let's get to know each other. When they did, Sakura asked what they were supposed to say. Kakashi suppressed another sigh. He had a teacher's pet on his team. Just say your names, your likes and dislikes, hobbies, and dreams for the future. You should start with sensei, Naruto said. We already know each other a bit. Alright, my name is Hada Kakashi. I have likes, and few dislikes, and my hobbies aren't your business. My dreams, well that's not for young kids to hear. Hi Kakashi finished his intro with a perverted giggle. His dream was to collect every Icha story, and then when there were no more he would travel the world trying to reenact all those beautiful graphic scenes one at a time. Okay, maybe two at once, but no more, he was only human. Unfortunately Naruto could sense his thoughts since they were so vivid and strong. Poor young Sith had to apply tremendous mental discipline not to make a sound of disgust. He may be a Sith, but he was still a kid with little to no sex drive. The girls were still somewhat non-interesting for Naruto, at least in that way. Kakashi stopped his creepy laugh and nodded at Sakura to start her introduction. "You next, Pinky." Sakura scowled at her nickname, but she obeyed. "I am Haruno Sakura, and I'm 12. I like." She blushed while looking at Sasuke and giggled at Kakashi's sorrow. A fangirl. My dream is to another giggle, much more like Kakashi's this time. Sasuke shivered, resisting the sudden urge to leave and buy an iron underwear with a high-level combination lock. Sakura took hold of herself. "I hate no pig," and Naruto. Kakashi drawled, as if speaking to mentally unstable person. He looked at Naruto, who got the hint, and cleared his throat. "KHM, my name is Uzumaki Naruto. I like ramen, training, and being left alone. I dislike fools, hypocrites, and those who think of themselves too highly. My dream is to become the best ninja I can become." Kakashi blinked. Well, at least one student was remotely sane. He looked at the Uchiha boy with something akin to regret and pity. Sasuke reminded him too much of himself. Sasuke took the hint as well. "My name is Uchiha Sasuke, and I don't like many things or dislike them either. I do have a dream, not an ambition, to revive my clan and kill a certain man." His voice was dark and cold, filled with determination that made Kakashi wince. Sasuke was clearly bent on revenge, which wasn't good for him or anyone else. "Alright, you're all interesting individuals. We'll start doing our missions tomorrow, so get a good night's sleep and meet me tomorrow at 7 before the mission center." Dismissed. Kakashi didn't wait for them to leave. He vanished immediately with a puff of smoke from his shunshin. It looked like teleported away, but that was just an illusion. In fact, the shunshin made the user move so fast that it seemed instantaneous. But it required lots of chakra and stamina to endure the stress of rapid movements. Also, if you messed it up you could hurl yourself in the wall or some big tree, and that would hurt a lot. That's why it was level. "I have to learn that trick." Naruto said with a large grin, and ran away, leaving Sasuke to deal with his annoying groupie. It was evening, and the sun just went down, leaving a blanket of the night to cover the village. Stars danced and twinkled in the sky, and the moon shone pale silvery rays, providing sufficient light for Naruto to see, as if it were daytime. He was on the way home after a satisfactory day. He passed an exam without even knowing about it, and it made him snicker. That Kakashi guy was obviously terrified of having some kids in his care. The guy was powerful, probably one of the best in the village, Naruto suspected. The old man Hokage wouldn't let just anyone take on the Uchiha and him. But he somehow doubted Kakashi's teaching skills. Just because someone knew things, it didn't mean they knew how to impart that knowledge onto others. Kakashi just seemed too weird, too relaxed to be an effective disciplinarian and teacher. Maybe he was one of those figure-it-yourself guys with their cryptic guidelines and suggestions. Naruto could live with that. "Hey dope." Sasuke hissed when he emerged from the side alley looking very angry. He felt that weight in Naruto clearly through the force. Sasuke was livid, and he wanted to take it out on Naruto. "Your stupid disappearing act today almost cost me my promotion. I want to make sure you never tried that shit again. You'll do as I say, and you won't stand in my way. I have important things to do, and shits like you and Sakura are just burdens I don't need." "Ew, I'm so shaking in fear of the mighty Uchiha Sama." Naruto mocked me with a wide, happy grin. "And what can you do to me if I decide to do as I like? Sue me to sensei." Sasuke smiled coldly. He was so full of himself. "No, I'll just have to teach you a hard lesson about pissing off an Uchiha. We were bred to be warriors. You cladless idiots don't know a thing about being a ninja." Naruto almost laughed in his face. Warriors. Sasuke obviously had some skewed picture of what ninjas were supposed to be. But he had just the right thing to say. "Am I clanless?" Strange thing to say for someone whose mighty clan was obliterated in one night like they were the weakest ninja in the whole history. Sasuke lost it and attacked with fury that made him boil. His fists slashed, and only long training and muscle memory kept his attacks coordinated and focused. Naruto found his attacks slow, and he could see them before they even started. It was child's play to dodge or slap kicks and punches aside. Sasuke made one big mistake. He allowed Naruto to block his left kick with forearm, and tried to use it as leverage for his jump and right kick to the head. He was very athletic and nimble, and this combo worked very well against most of his opponents at the academy. But Naruto wasn't one of them. He moved with snake-like speed and closed in on Sasuke and grabbed his neck. Sasuke choked because Naruto's hand squeezed like it was made of steel, and his back exploded in pain that made him lose strength and see lights in his vision as he was slammed in the wall. He didn't even see a kick that bowled him in fetal position, and the other positively bruised his ribs. Naruto kept on pounding away until Sasuke went limp. He made sure not to mark his face. "This I hope is a lesson you won't forget, Uchiha." Naruto hissed coldly at barely conscious Sasuke. Nobody gives orders to me, especially not some asshole with delusions of grandeur. You're a weak and arrogant moron who has been hearing praises about his greatness his whole life. I know of at least 2 more guys in our age bracket who could have done this to you even easier than me. You think you train hard? You make me laugh. I'm stronger, faster, and have more stamina than you ever will. Just because you are an Uchiha doesn't make you anything special. Hell, it's not even sure you will awaken your bloodline. So you better stop high-nosing, and take this seriously. You're not the center of the universe, and your life isn't something others will care too much about. I had a tough life too, but you don't see me go around and think I'm better than everyone else. If you ever try to attack me again without permission or justified reason, I'll take one of your eyes. Sharingan or not. Consider yourself warned. I wouldn't be merciful, be assured. Sasuke could only wheeze in pain as he listened to Naruto's footsteps. He couldn't believe he was defeated so easily. That bastard had the gall to lecture him even as if he was someone lower than him. And then he just walked away. It was all just like him. He was going to teach Uzumaki Naruto a lesson one of these days. Nobody underestimated the power of the Uchiha blood and got away with it. Alright, let's see what Sarutobi said as he started to look through his papers in search of the next mission for Team 7. They were on duty 2 months already, and they weren't happy. It turned out that their job was to do D-rank missions, which were just glorified housekeeping jobs like babysitting, grocery shopping, painting fences, and so on. As Kakashi happily explained, these D-ranks were meant to improve their teamwork by letting them get to know each other better. Not one of his pupils cared to do exactly that, so it wasn't really working. Naruto didn't care either way, and Sasuke's pride made him loathe the blonde with passion, and Sakura followed his lead like a good fangirl. Kakashi did suspect something happened between Naruto and Sasuke, considering Sasuke's pained face on their first day of being officially on duty. Sasuke just brushed him off, saying he felt badly the night before. Whatever happened, Sasuke wasn't willing to talk about it, so Kakashi let it pass, but he did observe how his team worked. Mostly it was Sasuke who led with his fan in tow, and Naruto seemed indifferent. He just agreed with Sasuke, and smiled. Like he knew a joke, and the others were victims of it. Kakashi wasn't really interested, as long as he was doing his job. One of the worst jobs for genins was to hunt down the cat named Tor. It belonged to the wife of their local lord, and she was the devil incarnate. The cat would always run from her owner, and it knew how to hide and run. Some genin swore she could use chakra. For Team 7 it was not so. Somehow Naruto would always track the beast and catch her. Tor was very obedient when Naruto was around. Nobody knew why. It was simple for him to use the force to track the animal, seize control of her, and give her orders to be nice, or else, and it worked each time. After a while Tor learned that Naruto would always find her, so she stopped running so much. She was one smart cat. Better to suffer in the hands of her mistress than to face the scary genin who threatened to flay her on the inside with just one look. That evil eye he gave her made her shudder at nights. Ah, I found one. How about walking some dogs? Sarutobi said, knowing Naruto wasn't very liked by clients, but animals seemed to be quite tame in his presence. Maybe they sensed the fox somehow, and knew he was the boss. Naruto pursed his lips in a thoughtful manner. I don't know, old man. I heard that Team 10 was sent to their first C rank yesterday. Could we get one? Naruto, Iruka said from his position next to the aged Hokage. Hokage-sama decides when you can go on a C rank, not you. There is a good reason it is done this way. Be respectful. Chen, we're more than ready. Sasuke said, not because he supported Naruto. He just didn't think it was good for him to do these chores, while some fat ass like Chaoji got his first C rank. No way, he was an Uchiha. Yeah. Sakura piped up, automatically agreeing with her idol. She was really well trained that way. The years of habit coached her to agree with Sasuke without even thinking. Kakashi grimaced below his mask. That girl needed a hard dose of reality, pronto. She was the reason he was holding back 2 powerful genin from any serious jobs. But he saw now it was inevitable. Either Sakura would come to her senses, or she would get her team killed someday unless he booted her off the team. Which was still an option. I think my team needs a mission better suited to their skills, Hokage-sama. I'd like to request a hunt. Sarutobi raised his eyebrows high, and Iruka looked a little shocked. The so-called hunt was a mission reserved for fresh genin to have their first taste of blood and killing. Usually it was reserved for the first generation shinobis, because those from old ninja families and clans were too well trained to falter on such a mission anyway. Sakura definitively needed to see whether she can kill or not. The hunt usually involved tracking down bandits and destroying them utterly. Although the Fire Country had its own armies and police forces, the bandit problem was rampant in less populated areas. There was too much space to cover and protect. But they mostly did manage to reduce the problem, and some cases were always left for Fire's ninjas to deal with, just for this purpose. Sarutobi saw Kakashi glance at Sakura and understood his problem. The girl was visibly weak, with her too thin frame and non-developed musculature. She was very smart, but that was useless without practical experience. Tsunade of that age was quite different, but she was the granddaughter of the greatest ninja of the modern age. Aruno Sakura was a civilian with low chakra level, without proper mental attitude, and whatnot. He was in agreement with young Haddock the girl had to show spine, or she was going to be dropped from the core. So he took a special scroll, and handed it to Kakashi. Here it is Kakashi, and good luck. Was that really necessary, Hokage-sama? Iruka asked when Team 7 was gone. He was reluctant to spoil their youth. I'm afraid so, Iruka. Young Haruno is showing a disturbing lack of fortitude. This is her final chance. I see. Iruka bowed his head in shame. She was his student, and therefore his mistake. No need to do that, Iruka. Nobody questions your teaching skills. You've done your best, and sometimes it just isn't enough. Trust me, I know. Sarutobi said with a gentle smile to Iruka, who bowed again. Arigato, Hokage-sama. Team 7 was crouched in the darkness while observing their targets. The bandit camp was set about 800 meters away at the bottom of the small valley between high hills. Team 7 was tracking them for the last 3 days through the wilderness. Kakashi taught them a lot of tracking tricks, many of which weren't taught at the academy. Like how to tell if the prey moved fast or slow, how much weight caused such, and such tracks, which in turn told them if the target was male or female, or if he was armored, and so on. There were about 30 heavily armed bandits in the camp, and they were smart. In the distance several fires were glowing, which meant widespread formation to avoid being caught en masse. Also, it made it difficult to count their exact number. Kakashi evaluated the situation, and already cited the best way to deal with these vermin. But this was a mission to let his pupils show what they were made of. Any thoughts? Sasuke shrugged. There's about 30 thugs. We can take them. But the horses are a problem, they have to be dealt with beforehand. We don't want to let them escape. Kakashi nodded. Sasuke was right on point. He eyed Naruto, who looked just as unconcerned as Sasuke. Sakura looked nervous. She really wasn't expecting to start killing so soon. Kakashi sighed internally. He felt sorry for the girl, but it had to be done. Kami forgave him, but this was it. The girl joined the ninja corps of Konoha for the wrong reasons. Now it was time to see if she could really do what has to be done. So what's the plan? Come on, show me some brains, you three. Kakashi egged the trio. We can do 2 things, Naruto said. Either we kill them in one massive assault, or we make them run, and pick them off one by one from ambushes. Personally, I prefer the second option. It's not like we have to risk ourselves unnecessarily. Good idea, Naruto. Kakashi said approvingly. He looked at the rest of the team. Anyone against that? Sasuke just, as usual, and Sakura nodded in agreement. Kakashi was pleased, but they were cautious. Okay, Naruto, what's the next step after we get rid of the horses? I could send a group of my clones to make them run, and scatter. You guys can take your shots, as you want, and stay hidden, as much as possible. They will run, and we will follow. Sooner or later we will win by sheer stamina advantage. Alright. You know the deal. Take care of the guards, and then chase the horses away. Naruto will raise a small group of clones to start the fights, and you two will kill as many bandits as possible while staying hidden. Let's go. Team 7 slunk off in the way where their target sat, unaware of the impending death and pain. Sasuke crawled on his fingertips and toes, his body parallel to the ground, invisible and silent as shadow. He was calm, he knew his job, and was confident of his success. He already selected his targets, and knew exactly what to do with them. A few well-placed shuriken would suffice. Sakura moved silently around the south side of the valley, until she reached the high rock from where she observed her targets, a group of 3 guards loosely positioned on the rocky slope below. Their job was to spot anyone trying to sneak up from the south, and to prevent their horses from wandering away. Sakura swallowed spit, and she felt the bile rise in her throat. She gagged slightly, as her palms started to sweat, her hands shook, as she prepared for the attack. 3 kunai in each hand, held by the rings on their handles. They were a gift from her mother for graduating at the top of the class. Her family wasn't too keen on her chosen occupation, but they were proud to have one Haruno clan member in the ninja corps. Every clan or family considered it a mark of honor to produce another ninja for their glorious Konoha. Sakura was suddenly very much aware what this glory and honor were: blood and flesh gouged away by her thin, innocent hands, and sharp eyes that were now moist. But she wasn't stupid, not when she was alone, and not trying to impress Sasuke-kun. This was her test: either she could do her job or not. She envied both boys on her squad, they were so calm and professional. She and Ino had a promise between each other, as kunoichis, not to let boys outshine them. But most of all, she didn't want to see Sasuke's sneer when he realized she wasn't strong enough. Her hands clenched and relaxed, just as she was taught by Iruka-sensei. She forgot about the targets, and her feelings only breathing mattered. She waited, slowly inhaling and exhaling. And when the noise started far away, her hands snapped automatically. She closed her eyes, as she waited for the sign of alarm from below. Nothing came, just the sound of horses whining and galloping. She peered down, and saw 3 shadows lying still in the grass. She struck home, just like in the academy. Funnily enough, Sakura thought only one thing at the moment: Iruka-sensei would have been proud of her marksmanship. She waited for the noise to start. Soon enough, there would be more targets. Tears trickled, as she drew more kunai. Sakura's eyes were trying to catch everything in their sight as Team 7 was walking towards the office building where Onigato's mayor was residing. Onigato was a mid-sized city in the northwestern region of the Fire Country. It sat on the crossroads of two rivers, and so it became one of more important trade spots and ports. Merchants owned much of the city, and trade was good, thus the whole region prospered. But like every major city, even Onigato had its bad side. Its prosperity attracted crime. But legal and illegal citizens coexisted just fine. There was more than enough wealth to be quietly spread between them. While regular folk took care of public and legal venues, the criminal world took care of gambling, red lights districts, massage parlors, and so on. Nobody made excesses to draw the attention of the fire's authorities. Until now. Someone had crossed the line, and the mayor had to call for discreet help. That's where Team 7 came in. In case of suspicious activity amongst fire's officials, only loyal ninjas were trusted to investigate. The matter was brought to Team 7's attention via courier animal in the local city where they took pay for the finished mission. They were the closest team available. It seemed that somebody thought it would be nice to kidnap young women from the streets of Onigato, so they could be sold as slaves. Not in the Fire Country where such a thing was a capital offense, not because of civilization of the land, but simply because lords of the land couldn't ensure that people wouldn't rebel if such practice was allowed. But somewhere else. Kakashi led his pupils across rooftops of the city, silently and invisibly to the civilian population. They saw the mayor in his office from the adjacent building's roof. He was expecting them, so he wasn't surprised when four ninjas with Konoha's headband appeared in a large cloud of smoke. Finally, Mayor Futake said with relief. He was a tall thin man with a grey beard and bald skull. His skin was still smooth, despite the obvious advanced age. I've been waiting for some time. Have you now? Kakashi spoke in a neutral voice. Yes. Futa nodded sharply, not bothering to ask about his company. He didn't need to know the identity of Fire's ninjas. He would forget them as soon as possible if he valued his career and position. Ninjas were sort of untouchable when it came to these matters. They were after all Fire Lord's extended arm. We are informed about the situation here, Kakashi explained. We're here out of formal courtesy. And to warn you that we will be using any means available to resolve this situation. As Futa swallowed, he understood that the morgue might be lacking storage capacity in the next few days. Oh well, it had to happen sometime. Chief Mortician will have to be creative. And silent. When Team 7 left the office, back on the rooftop they came from, Kakashi eyed his students. Well, any smart ideas? Sakura hesitated a little. We could visit some criminal hangouts to question some people for clues and rumors. That could take a while. Sasuke noted calmly. Also it would alert the guilty party to our presence. Then we have to go with the bait and capture approach. Naruto said. We can follow these kidnappers to wherever they deliver the victims. I suppose Sakura is the bait? Kakashi asked unnecessarily. Naruto smiled, and Sakura shivered. But she knew she had to be the bait. She was a perfect picture of the kidnapping victim. Naruto was right in the end. Sakura's exotic appearance caught someone's eye very soon, not even a day after she checked in at the local hotel with Naruto, who played the role of her cousin. And they were good. Sakura didn't even get to scream, as rough hands pulled her in the dark alley, and stuffed a bag over her head. She smelled a sleeping agent, and soon she was down for the count. Sakura was genuinely afraid, and it showed in her brief struggle, so her captors were not suspicious. They moved quickly through the maze that were dark streets and passages of the city, but when an in-dog was on your trail you can't shake him. And Pakin, Kakashi's favorite tracker summon, was able to follow them too easily. Kakashi, Naruto, and Sasuke frowned as they watched Sakura's kidnappers use the boat to reach a large ship docked at the other end of the local harbor. Crap, that's a foreign boat, sensei. Naruto said. From the grass country. See the flag. Kakashi pointed at the green flag on the tallest mast of the vessel. It was a large river boat, nearly as big as one of sea cargo ships. Aren't they our allies? Sasuke asked. They are. Kakashi nodded. That makes it tricky. We must bust this slave deal. Ally or not, they can't be allowed to get away with this. No wonder the mayor called for help. This is international politics. Naruto scoffed. Of course. We, and he, know where our citizens are, but we can't do anything legally. The ship is protected by peace treaties, and its crew decided to take advantage of that. I'm pretty certain that someone on our side started this to earn extra money. That's the only way this vessel could have passed the border without real inspection. Kakashi explained to Naruto and Sasuke. Are you saying we should let them go? Sasuke scowled. He wanted blood. Officially, yes. I'd rather burn the ship. Kakashi said. We'll let our spies and officials deal with this. It's not worth starting the war. Too bad, because I'm pretty sure we could take the crew quickly and save Sakura. Not that she won't escape by herself. Naruto said. It was true, even Sakura could escape from non-ninja captors easily enough. What makes you so sure? Kakashi asked curiously. Naruto grinned. I know Kage Bunshin, and I can make more than 30 clones. Kakashi looked at the ship and chuckled. Yes, that was another thing entirely. Okay, change of plans. We will swim to the ship and attach ourselves to his hull. Use henge to blend in. When we're far from the city we attack. Kill everyone on board but the captain. I'll make sure he is alive. The rest are expendable. As it was, the ship from the grass moved out at dawn, and soon it was going upriver, towards the grass country. Kakashi gave the signal 3 hours after the ship started its journey, thus ensuring there would be no witnesses. Sasuke and Naruto had to keep the crew busy, while Kakashi took care of the captain who was certainly the man with the right information. Naruto moved first. He used his kunai to climb up the ship's hull and to get rid of the guard. He leapt over the rail and made a hand seal to create 100 clones. Sasuke and Kakashi didn't need to worry about stealth anymore. The giant of the sailor rushed Naruto, bellowing and waving his saber. He died with a shuriken in his brain. Another two suddenly stopped breathing because their lungs couldn't work properly with metal inside. Naruto's clones created a massive combat zone, where bewildered crewmen were defending themselves from the army of blonde boys who vanished when struck once. Still, most of them managed to kill or maim their targets, which was bad for defenders. Half of them were gone in 5 minutes. Naruto himself weaved, dodged attacks, and returned them with deadly precision. His ninjutsu flashed like a silver mirage, spraying blood and limbs in its wake. Men screamed or gurgled, depending on their injury. Naruto moved like a ghost, nothing could touch him. He was using the force to see all around him, to predict the danger. He suddenly bent at a slight angle, letting a knife sail past his ear. A little nudge with the force sped up the projectile, and bent its trajectory. The knife killed a man in front of Naruto who replaced himself with a newly made corpse, and stabbed a guy next to him in the throat. He jumped off his shoulder, made a somersault over the next guy, landed crouched, and swung behind himself. He cut that man's legs, and grabbed him, as he fell. The man made a nice shield from the sword slash of his buddy who followed Naruto from behind. Naruto turned, stabbed him in the belly, and twisted savagely. He let his innards spill out. He used them to blind the new attacker, and jump kicked at his head. He broke his neck. He turned quickly, and slashed with his blade, deflecting 3 knives in a single move. 2 were sent to stab one of Sasuke's opponents in the back, one was flung away in the river. Naruto laughed, and flashed at the trio who used those knives. They died quickly, being no match to the young Sith. He paused, his clones were almost exhausted, but they took care of the majority of the crew. Sasuke was handling his part rather well, so Naruto went on executing the wounded, and those his clones missed. He didn't miss. Kakashi emerged with pale Sakura in tow. Naruto noticed blood spattered on their clothes. Obviously they have dealt some death too. Not bad, Kakashi said, as he surveyed the massacre. He took note that Naruto handled his sword rather well. Sasuke did good too. Did you get your man? Naruto was interested. Kakashi nodded, his eyes made that U-shape when closed. He was happy. He was a talkative little fellow. I've gotten the necessary information on this slave business. We're done for now. Legal authorities will deal with the rest of the gang on our side of the border. Sasuke looked around the ship. Can we burn this thing now? Kakashi nodded. Go on, practice yours. We'll wait with our kidnappees on the coast. The return to Onigata was a nice cool-down exercise for Team 7. The mayor was happy to hear that there would be no kidnappings anymore, and he had a message for Kakashi who grimaced as he read the thing. What's going on, sensei? Sakura asked, how much calmer. She had to kill some men again, but this time she didn't hesitate. They were molesting some of the girls whom they saved. Temten is in trouble, Kakashi said with a cool demeanor. Asuma-san is injured. We are to help them if we can get there on time. And we will. Thanks for watching my video. Leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time, till then sayonara.